I'm Joshua Wild. I'm one of the owners of Blaze Games and also the project manager of Firefront. You probably know us from Bullet Force or Fort Assault. Firefront is our next big project we've been developing for the last 3 years, and this is our first devlog. In the background while I'm talking, you'll see some footage. Some of it's new, some of it's old, but it's all from Firefront. The two main points I want to get across with these devlogs are: one, give status updates and show the community kind of the behind the curtains, behind the scene of what developing an FPS game is like, and two, get new supporters through Patreon. So, quick intro, what is Firefront? Firefront is a free-to-play mobile FPS based around large military combat. That means lots of players over a concentrated map area. For example, our current map is a Russian factory. It's called Tungor Valley, and it's 1 kilometer long. Firefront is similar to games like Squad, Hell Let Loose, Battlefield, Insurgency. That means there's lots of players per match, up to 64 players per match, as well as lots of vehicles. Vehicles like helicopters, armored vehicles, tanks. This game isn't gonna feel like PUBG or Call of Duty. It's gonna feel like a totally different, unique experience. The goal is to make something that is realistic and feels like real war. And it's gonna feel like a PC game, but that you can play on your phone. That means you'll get a lot of things like you'll see in PC games, like complex weapon customization system with fully customizable guns. That means being able to customize things like handguards, barrels, scopes, grips, lasers, stocks. There's an advanced player cosmetic system. That means things like being able to customize pants, shirt, gloves, boots, accessories, camos, things like that. That's something really important to me. I see a lot of mobile FPS games, and they always feel, not always, but a lot of them feel really stiff and feel really like not very polished animations, not very polished movement, or how the gun physics work, or things like that. But this has really polished feeling guns, polished animations, movement, really good graphics. That means it's going to look really great on high-end devices. It's going to be one of the best games you've ever seen on high-end devices. And also that means it's going to run well on low-end devices. It's not going to look the best, but it'll still run on low-end devices. We've also put a lot of work into sound design, music, voice acting. We've actually been working really recently on this, and I'm really excited. Especially if you follow us on Twitter, you'll see us posting some more stuff there really soon. We've done some really cool stuff lately with voice acting that I'd really love to show you. Some other features we're working on that we can't quite show yet are destruction and voice chat. But I'm once again really excited to show you guys when we do have something to show there. So that's a little bit about Firefront. Getting into Patreon here. Patreon, if you're not familiar with Patreon, it's a way to support creators you like and contribute to a cause you believe in. In this case, it's Firefront. So why do we need Patreon, and why should you support us? Well, developing games is really expensive. Typical AAA games are in the hundreds of millions of dollars. Indie games cost a lot less, but they're still really expensive. With Firefront, we're working to make a game that millions of players will enjoy for years. We've got a really talented dev team, and we really believe that Firefront can rival these big other mobile FPS games that are out now and that continue to come out. But we need your help. If you look at big AAA games, a lot of times you get really nice looking games. They have the money to do that, but oftentimes it feels like they don't listen to the community. They ignore the community. Maybe the community has really good ideas, but it just doesn't happen. Patreon is a way that not only can you support the team financially, with money, but also you can be a big part of the game development, core part of the game development. None of this money actually that goes into Patreon goes to me. All of it goes to paying the team members, the artists, animators, sound designers, programmers, back-end developers, etc. We're at a stage right now where we're almost ready to receive funding from a large publisher. We've talked to a lot of big companies. I'm sure most of you have heard of all of them. A lot of big game companies. And a lot of them they see what we're doing and they're really, really excited. But they want, build to play and test it themselves. And the problem is we're not quite there yet. We need to keep developing the game for a little while longer so we can get to the point where we can receive funding from one of these really big companies, so that we can ensure the game's success. We can ensure that this game is going to be around for a long time, and we're going to be able to go up against these other big contenders in the mobile FPS space. So I've talked about why Patreon will help us. but how can we help you because of you helping us? So what do Patreon members get? Well, Patreon members get access to things like exclusive Discord channels just for Patreon members, frequent play tests. That means we, send out a new version of the game every time there's an update, and the patron members are able to play. Only Patreon members get access to the alpha. If you're not a paying Patreon member, you don't have access to this alpha. Eventually the game will be free, of course, but right now it's only available to alpha testers. Also, Patreon members get access to things like voice calls with me. That means every so often we have group voice calls, and we get to talk about where the game is at as far as the state of the game, and any changes that people feel like we should make, and it's a good chance for me to get to understand the community's concerns better. So because I want to make a game that I really love, and I want to make a game that the community really loves, and I think, and for the most part I think those are aligned, but the voice calls help to make sure that I can get good feedback from the community and make sure we're moving in the right direction. Some other things the Patreon members get are exclusive skins only available to the testers. Once we have millions of players, there's only ever going to be probably a few thousands of Patreon members. So that means once there's millions of players, your skins will be super rare because they'll only be available to the people who were in the Patreon. So that's like 0.01% of the players. So also, if you're a Patreon member, you'll be able to register your username before the game comes out, so that way no one steals your username, and also having your name at the end of these devlogs that we make, starting with the next one. So our goal is to reach 2,000 Patreon members. Some of these perks, like the exclusive skins, are only going to be available until a certain point. So if you're really interested in getting some of those things, I would suggest you subscribe now to Patreon before those are not available anymore. I think you're really going to wish you had support of the game. If you don't, you're really going to want to be a part of this journey with us. This is a really unique opportunity, not only for me and for the dev team, but for you guys to be a part of this whole development journey, especially as mobile FPS game is really just starting to take off. So I'll put links to the Discord community, to the Patreon page, and other social media links in the video description. I post a lot more there than I do on YouTube. But yeah, I really appreciate your time. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you in the next devlog.